From the heart of darkness, it's the IGN Digigods. So take off your thinking caps and please welcome two men who have made a friend of horror, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Wow, well, welcome to Wade and Mark's cooking show. Corey, who sent us that opening this week?
That was written by Kevin Stubblefield. His new line of razors will be out soon.
Corey. I like that. All right. Speaking of cooking, and we're just copping to it now. We're not going to talk about movies anymore. It's all about food, isn't it, Mark? It's all about food.
It was never about food until you gave me the unofficial Hunger Games cookbook, which you gave me last week, and I promised I would make you something from it.
Oh, I'm so
and
scared.
I have.
Oh, dear.
Wade, I have. Would you like to know what I made you? Or would you like to talk about the cook?
No,
By the way, we got a cookbook last week.
Yes.
We have another cookbook this week. We're not asking for cookbooks. Why is that? Why are the publicists sending us cookbooks?
Well, it's the same people who are doing both of these, and I thought it was cute. Why not?
Well, I think the Hunger Games is cute, a little more up our demographic alley.
Sure.
But you have one.
Oh yes.
That
what did you cook for me this week?
Why I didn't cook it, I baked it.
What'd you bake?
I baked us strawberry shortcake bars.
Oh, sweet.
Now, yeah, they are sweet, actually. They're actually too sweet. According to Hunger Games Chapter 4, Mayor Undersea has a fondness for strawberries. So this strawberry shortbread is sure to be a hit in the mayor's house.
Awesome.
It's likely to be enjoyed by both the mayor and his daughter, Madge.
Well, while you're getting one of those ready for me, the other cookbook this week is the unofficial Downton Abbey cookbooks. These are a little more sophisticated. There's no post-apocalyptic stuff here. This is just what you eat in a nice English manner. The unofficial Downton Abbey cookbook, from Lady Mary's crab canapes to Mrs. Patmore's Christmas pudding. More than 150 recipes from upstairs and downstairs.
Why won't you let me have that one? Why do you give me the lame Hunger Games cookbook and you get
I'm the Downton Abbey fan.
Totally awesome Downton Abbey cookbook?
Well, I'll let you. You can hang on to this for a week and make something if you want.
No. Before the show, you said, because I made you the strawberry bars, shortcake bars.
I'm going to
cook
something.
You were going to make me something and bring it Sunday.
Okay.
And you know what's going to happen too?
What's going to happen?
This is what will happen. I'll talk to you Saturday, and I'll be like, Wade, have you made anything yet? The next podcast is coming up soon. You know what you're going to say? Haven't had time. That's what'll happen.
Well, I was on radio last week, so my time's a little bit better now. But this is great. You know, you got, I'll probably put something here from Chapter 7, The Finishing Touch, Sweets and Desserts.
Well, it's
Decadent chocolate almond cake with sour cream.
Oh. Give me that. Let me see it.
Icing.
Let me see it.
Wow.
Give me
sour cream icing. My goodness.
Don't stop the recording.
Okay.
I want to stare at this.
Okay.
Oh, that's not the recipe. That's the table of contents. Well, you know what? I had never made shortbread at all. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that there's an art to making shortbread.
Which involves what?
This is so beyond what we're supposed to be talking about.
Who cares?
You know what? Just fast forward. Yeah. It's a podcast. Fast forward. I didn't realize how shortbread was made.
Right.
Now, shortbread may be made other ways, but this is how the Hunger Games have you do it. Now, the Hunger Games, I guess in the Hunger Games world, everything is very inconvenient and must be done from scratch because there's no super technological stuff. Whatever.
You can't go to the market.
Correct. So
there's no town. There's no country store.
So here's what you do.
There's no Hank Drucker.
There is not. There's no Circle K. There's nothing.
No.
So you get your 9 by 13 pan, and then you make the dough. The dough is flour, sugar, and whatever, and then you. By the way, flour, sugar, and 1.25 pounds of butter. So,
and that has to be flour ground from your own wheat in the backyard.
Correct.
Yeah, which
I
you have
actually
to take
sold
down
my condo and moved to a farm.
That's it.
Just for this recipe.
You take your sickle out and you know.
Yes.
And the sugar has to come from your own cane.
And I hired I hired Richard Gere and Brooke Adams from Days of Heaven.
Mm-hmm. Sweet.
Awesome.
Farm. That's great.
So then what you do is. So you whip up the butter and the flour and the sugar and whatever.
Yes.
And then you take the dough, the resulting dough, you break it into 2 equally weighted halves.
Yes.
And you freeze both halves. Why do you freeze both halves? Because when it's done freezing, you take a cheese grater and you grate the frozen dough and use the grated dough to coat the bottom of the pan. Then you put the strawberry jam on. Then you take the other half of frozen dough and you grate it using a cheese grater.
I'm hungry.
I'm not kidding. I
know.
had no idea it was such a pain in the ass to make shortbread.
Okay, well...
But you know what? You understand why they do it because that's what the grated...
Damn well better be great shortbread because I'm sitting here staring at it.
Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something honestly?
What?
If I ever made this again, I'd use less strawberry jam because it's a little sweet for me.
Yeah.
You know what? It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I have to say.
All right.
So
here we
I've
go.
cut these up into bars. Wade has not tried this. He didn't
I have
know.
not tried this.
Oh, hang on. You're taking an end piece. Okay, go for it.
Why not? I
Well,
like end
'cause-
pieces.
Yeah, hang on. No, you're going to take a napkin because you're going to spill everything.
Okay. All right. Here we
And
go.
you'll be honest
Yes, I will.
because you're always honest when you eat my stuff. Most of my cookies you have liked. The one cookie you didn't like, I also didn't like. But here comes the
This
box.
is really good.
See?
Yeah. Wow.
Now, are you just saying that to kiss the publicist's ass, or is it good?
It's really, really good.
Okay, thank you.
Not too much strawberry jam at all.
Oh, there's not.
No.
Oh, it might depend what you know. What, God, I didn't want another one of these. I've eaten like a. By the way, I will say, if you would like some more, I have like a big square I can give you because I'm trying to get rid of. It was a huge 9x13 pan. I live alone. I don't need all this stuff in my house. So if you wanted a big square, I can give you a big square. Otherwise, go to hell. No. Otherwise, here it is. Now I want some.
Well, this is really, really good. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. But you realize that it's the grating of the frozen dough that gives it that consistency, that shortbready consistency.
You know, in keeping with the Hunger Games theme,
Yes.
I would kill someone for this. I would. I would.
the shortbread games.
Oh yeah.
Now I don't know that what I made here will have the zing of something made from the Downton Abbey cookbook. By the way, you know what?
totally worth murder. I have to admit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I have to reiterate, we're a Blu-ray show, we're a DVD show. It is a total coincidence that A, I happen to have gotten into cooking about 6 months ago, big time, and I cook every week. And B, we happen to have gotten 2 cookbooks in a row from the same publicist. We did not ask for these cookbooks. It just so happens. And Wade chokes and dies on my strawberry shortbread.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. The unofficial Hunger Games cookbook literally has resulted in a recipe that I would make again. I really would. I'm not kidding. I would make it again.
All right, we're gonna go. Here we go. We ready, Mark? You ready for this?
I'm going to eat my piece of.
All right, you eat your piece. While you're eating, I'm going to blow through a few things here real quickly. You know, we have a ton of Warner Archive titles and a whole bunch of Rank Collection titles here that I'm going to go through real quickly. Warner Archive titles, of course, are DVDRs, which are available at warnerarchive.com. I think you can find them also at Amazon these days. They've extended out. But anyway, a whole bunch of great archive stuff. And it makes me so sad that this is probably never going to wind up on Blu-ray, because that's just the nature of the Warner Archive thing. You know, there's no such thing as like a Blu-ray R, a BD-R. This is all done very cheaply on demand. Otherwise known as MOD, Manufacture on Demand. All the studios pretty much have this system now, except for, I think Disney is the only one that doesn't. But anyway, this is the Cool Ones. Mark, did you ever see the Cool Ones?
No.
Oh, gosh. Such a totally cool relic of its day. This is, this is from the whole kind of rock and roll era, late 60s to early 70s. It really kind of typifies it. Gene Nelson directed this. And it's got this really cool, just funky kind of. It doesn't feel like an exploitation film, but it really has like a 60s go-go vibe to it that I just thought was just really, really fun. And a lot of great people in it. Roddy McDowall is in this. You know, he's like
I used to love him.
Roddy McDowall basically plays what's the name of the guy with the funky hair that murdered the lady? You know, the impresario, the rock impresario guy. What was his name?
It's Phil Spector.
That guy, yeah. Roddy McDowall basically plays Phil Spector. You like how I said that? The guy with the funky hair that murdered the lady?
And I knew.
No, it's a cool, vibey, go-go dancing movie. That's the Cool Ones. And then we have Rod Taylor in Young Cassidy. Rod Taylor, of course, generally is really only known for The Time Machine. Here he stars alongside a lot of great people. Julie Christie, Michael Redgrave, Maggie Smith. For director Jack Cardiff, a great director. And this is one of those British films that sort of tries to be pastoral about the life of the working class Irish. It's a little over-romanticized, but otherwise some decent performances. Not bad. John Ford produced it because John Ford is always very in touch with his Irishness, as anyone knows who who's familiar with his entire...
Hang on, wait, shut
yeah,
up.
what?
Wait, no one cares.
Oh, okay.
I actually, look, this is a big square. I saved this big square for you.
Thank
you.
you.
Will take that with you.
Okay.
In case you want to nibble on it now, here's a fork.
You're turning this show into the most unprofessional.
Actually, it's now the most fattening show on the internet.
Awesome.
You realize there's a £1.25 pound of butter in this
Yeah,
recipe.
that's great.
You don't care.
I like it.
You run and you exercise.
And then we also have Rod Taylor in another Jack Cardiff-directed film from the era, which is it's really more of a James Bond kind of spin-off. It's called The Liquidator. Also features Trevor Howard and Jill St. John, Wilfred Hyde White, who was in My Fair Lady. This is fine. There were a million Bond spin-offs, and Taylor's not exactly the guy for this, but it's perfectly fine. It's kitschy, and it fits the bill. And then there is Damon and Pythias. Now, a lot of people have suggested that there is a very strong gay undercurrent to this film. If you want to believe that, that's fine. I don't really care either way. It's not that good. But
there's a chain of Greek restaurants in L.A. called Damon and Pythias. There was one in Westwood.
Yeah, this is a whole kind of a kind of B-level Bible story type thing. It's not even Bible story. It's more like Quo Vadis. It comes from that whole thing. So it's it's a low grade Ben-Hur is what it is. And even more low grade is Hercules, Samson, and Ulysses, which
now that's a gay thing.
Yeah, you know what? This is well. Geez, look at the artwork. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
That's a gay thing.
Yeah. Well, the other one. Look here. They're fighting over who gets to hold the spear, right? And then with this one, you got there. It really looks like they're getting into the position. I mean, it's just
assume the position.
Assume the position. No, this is one of those Italian things one of these Italian Hercules movies, and there's a gazillion of them, and they were all made really cheaply and inexpensively, and they're all equally cheesy, and they're all from the same kind of period when the Italians were doing nothing but spaghetti westerns and giallo films. So anyway, that's out there if it's your kind of thing. Much more my speed are the last two. Heidi's Song, which is a really, really sweet Hanna-Barbera telling of Heidi, animated film. And this is one of the treasured memories of my childhood. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's absolutely great. It's a lot of fun. Great voices, including Lauren Green and Sammy Davis Jr., and it's just terrific. Really, really good songs from Sammy Kahn and Burton Lane. Really just a wonderful movie, and that's out from the archive collection.
You know what's funny is that in the 80s, Heidi was like a thing. In the 80s. Children read it. There was a movie.
Yeah, totally.
Now Heidi is it's almost like Pippi Longstockings. In the 80s, Pippi Longstockings movies, whatever. Now it's like, don't care.
And then the great Ken Russell, the man who was kind of a manic genius until he went completely crazy and off the reservation, who died recently, or relatively recently, made one of his musical films from his musical era. He made Lisztomania, and boy, I'll tell you, this film, Roger Daltrey. Rick Wakeman did the music. Ringo Starr even shows up with Rick Wakeman. This is just completely off the wall, totally nutty.
And what's weird is that
but
Russell,
it's like brilliant. It's brilliant at the same time. It's a great film.
But
it's
somehow
just totally eccentric.
Somehow Russell didn't mind casting Roger Daltrey in the lead here.
Right.
However, he didn't cast Roger Daltrey in the lead of the film that featured nothing but Who music.
I know.
Not nothing but
Who
music, which was Quadrophenia, which we'll talk about later.
We'll talk about it later. And then from the Rank Collection, which is an ongoing series of releases from VCI Home Video. They, of course, have an output deal with Rank, which is one of the most amazing libraries of British films ever. We've got a whole bunch here. Highly Dangerous. I'm just going to give you the titles because there's a ton here. Highly Dangerous. Starring Dane Clark, Margaret Lockwood, Marius Goring. The Long Memory with John Mills and Elizabeth Sellers. That's actually quite good, to be honest. That's a pretty darn good movie. The Seekers, starring Jack Hawkins and Glynis Johns. Glynis Johns is just so wonderful in this. And everybody always associates her as being like the goofy mom in Mary Poppins. Oh, no. Glynis Johns rocks this movie. She's really, really good. By the way, I've spent some of these got released months ago. I have spent the better part of the last 5 months watching a lot of these.
You know why?
Yeah.
No life.
Thank you. The Arsenal Stadium Mystery with Leslie Banks and Greta Gint and Leanne Linden. Kind of middling fare. We've got a couple of double features from the Carry On series. Now, you can get all the Carry Ons in a boxed set, but otherwise they have a lot of great double features of them. These are very funny films. Classic stuff. This is Volume 7 and 8. Carry On Dick with Carry On Abroad. Don't joke. Carry On Dick. That's the name of the movie. The other one has Carry On Behind with Carry On England. Carry On England is one of the best.
Carry On Dick and Carry On Behind.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
I know. Carry On England is actually one of the best of the series. Fanny by Gaslight. This is a lot of fun, actually. Stuart Granger and James Mason are so good in this. They're just come on. Does it get any better than Stuart Granger and James Mason? Seriously.
Yeah, it does. Actually,
those two voices,
many times.
Those two voices are just priceless. We get a great Worf story here called Morning Departure with Richard Attenborough and John Mills in it. That's really it's a pretty cool naval battle movie. A less impressive film in Eagle's Wing. This is a more recent film. I'm surprised that Rank was still kind of kicking at this time. The only thing this really has, it has Harvey Keitel and Martin Sheen in it. It's a kind of an odd recent Rank film. Well, recent, when I say recent, I mean like late 70s, but it's a bizarre detour into making American-style westerns. It's not their style. But the only thing that's noteworthy from 1979 is that the cinematographer on this is Billy Williams, who was one of the two cinematographers on Gandhi, Oscar winner just a few years later. Peter Sellers in The Naked Truth, amazing, brilliant, genius, because you get Peter Sellers and Terry Thomas in the same movie. I mean, I don't think you need to say anything else, right? Right. Totally. Also Peter Sellers in Never Let Go. Terrific. Although not as good as the other one. This is this is a more serious Sellers, just flexing some muscles that we're unaccustomed to seeing him flex. Love Story with Margaret Lockwood and, again, Stuart Granger. Middling fare. First, A Girl. This is, it's okay. This is not, the greatest thing ever. It's from 1935, so it's an early talkie. And they're trying to do the Hollywood thing. It's a little bit of a sophisticated comedy of manners. The story is basically Victor Victoria. This is allegedly the film that inspired Victor Victoria, but by no means is it as good. You realize how good Victor Victoria is. And then we got a great World War I film here. Terrific World War I film with David Niven and the likes of Stanley Holloway, Trevor Howard, John Laurie, William Hartnell. William Hartnell, who'd eventually play Doctor Who. Stanley Holloway from My Fair Lady. What a great cast.
Doctor Who dud.
And, of course, David Niven. No, this is a great World War I film. It's called The Way Ahead, and really is terrific. Really terrific. Not a propaganda film at all. So these are great. Those are the Rank films. Mark?
Yes, sir.
Why don't you tell us about some of this concert and sports crap, and I'll hook everything else up in the meanwhile.
Oh, Wade, Jay and Silent Bob get old.
I'm just going to eat while you're doing this.
That is fine.
That's fine.
Wade and I have talked a lot about Kevin Smith, so we all know our feelings about them. And in this
is a live thing that they did, and I actually heard. I know some people who went to one of these shows and said it was the greatest thing they'd ever seen. Now they don't have the best taste in the world, but I'm just saying.
Well, you know what? Look, I think Kevin Smith is very funny, very a great speaker, great raconteur, very honest, a little bit profane, but that's part of the fun. This is a live comedy show from London. They had done it in London, Manchester, and Edinburgh. And the way Kevin Smith does these things, no two shows are ever the same. But there's some really funny stuff here. So it's Jason Mewes, who's had no career other than starring in Kevin Smith films, and Kevin Smith, who's pretty much had no career other than doing his own films because he never really grew as a director. And although, you know what, I like Red State. I have to say, there was some good stuff in Red State. Yeah. I wanted to hate that thing so bad, but there was some good stuff in it. He's way too childish to really give you the pointed political commentary you might want from Red State. But anyway, Jay and Silent Bob Get Old is good stuff because I love anything that keeps Kevin Smith from directing a film. Okay. Now, I'm not a big hockey fan, but I do know that the LA Kings have never won a Stanley Cup until this year. And to commemorate this very exciting event in LA lore, LA history.
Your friend Phil was like inconsolable.
Phil Klein.
He was out of control.
The great Phil Klein, whose dog Molly is the love of his life, literally has been a Kings fan for his entire life. And so this was a huge, huge deal for him, as it was with many hockey fans here in L.A. So here we have on Blu-ray and on DVD, Los Angeles Kings Stanley Cup 2012 champions. This is put out by Warner Brothers and the NHL. And it's just recaps the as a brief recap of the season and how the Kings pretty much were left for dead until they somehow managed to make it to the playoffs. And, of course, as we all know, with hockey, the playoffs is the second season.
Yeah, exactly.
But they peaked at the right time, and they made it all the way through, and they won the Stanley Cup, and congratulations to them. I'm sure that this has resulted in about a 10-minute 10 minutes of renewed interest in hockey in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And now we've gone back to not caring about it.
Probably.
So this is available on straight-up DVD, and it's also available on a DVD Blu-ray combo pack. Lots of bonus features. If you're a Kings fan, it is a no-brainer. Speaking of sports, we have the complete history of the New York Giants. You know what I love about things that say the complete history of? The moment the Giants play another game, no longer complete. They don't tell you that.
That's a great point.
Anyway, so the Giants have a storied history. They've been around since like 1925. They've got 22 division titles, 4 Super Bowls. So if you're a Giants fan, there's a lot to see in the complete history of the New York Giants. Good stuff put out by the good folks at NFL, at the NFL Films and NFL Networks. A lot of bonus content in here, a lot of great action. You know, the NFL film stuff is always so well shot and so well narrated and very professionally done, very polished, very comprehensive. So if the Giants aren't your favorite team, obviously you're going to pass. But if you do love the New York Giants, you know, why not? Give it a whirl. Give it a rental. Well,
sure. Unless
unless you're a super Giants fan, I guess you got to buy the complete history of the New York Giants. Stained, the only music DVD we'll talk about, or Blu-ray we'll talk about this week, is Stained. And they're an American rock band that they're not really my favorite, but they've had a couple of decent hits. These guys are from, I think they're from Massachusetts. But anyway, the Blu-ray is called Live from Mohegan Sun, and they sing all their hit singles, none of which we've really ever heard of or will ever be memorable. Not Again, Eyes Wide Open, So Far Away, Not the Dire Straits, So Far Away, Fading, Falling, For You, Outside, bunch of stuff we don't know because we don't like them.
Awesome.
What's wrong with you? How dare you?
I don't know. I know nothing about Stained. I just know that they spell their name in a weird way, and it kind of I feel guilty every time I pronounce them as Stained because I feel like there should be an E in there.
You know what I don't like about a lot of these really these thrash metal bands, whatever, like these really loud bands. I feel like they have to constantly remind everybody that they're edgy. Like their first album was called Tormented, and the second was called Dysfunction. It's like, it's almost like they try to prove to the kids that they're edgy and dangerous by naming their albums and their singles like really edgy, dangerous things. I want a Stained album called like Petticoats and Dandelions. When they have an album called Petticoats and Dandelions, I will listen to that.
I'm going to send them a letter.
Thank you.
I will. I'll do that. I've got 4 titles here that are noteworthy only because they have guys holding guns on the covers. I know it's not new, but I just found it interesting this week. I just thought, boy, there's a lot of guns, and they all look like the same gun. One is on DVD. The other 3 are on Blu-ray. The DVD is called Changing the Game. This is one of those titles that is targeted to the urban market, and when we say the urban market, what we mean is young black audiences. Urban is now a euphemism so that people don't say young black. I don't know why. When did that become taboo?
Because
why do we have to sort of pretend? Because
in our culture, if you say that blacks like a certain thing,
I see.
You're racist.
Okay, whatever.
You can't say that.
Well, look, you know what? I like these things. I like, years ago they had a blaxploitation festival at the New Art. And at the time, Tim Cogshell and I were both writing for Entertainment Today, who you once wrote for as well. And we decided, let's just do a really cool thing, because Tim and I both grew up with blaxploitation films, loving them, but from totally different points of view. And so we wrote, a black critic, white critic kind of point-counterpoint thing, side-by-side article about, and it was great. It was terrific, because it really underscored the fact that these movies were not just for one audience. They really were embraced as much by white audiences as they were by black audiences. But, people don't realize that.
Well, so that's anyway. Why, my pretty much, Shaft is great and all that sort of stuff you'll name.
Yeah.
But my favorite blaxploitation film is Across 110th Street because
so good.
It's Anthony Quinn.
It's so good.
Like an actual real deal
film.
White actor or whatever is blessing a blaxploitation film by being in it. I love that.
I dig it.
And it's a great film.
It is a great film.
But I do love Shaft.
So we've got Changing the Game, which is basically Scarface. It's got a guy holding the gun. And then we've got The Viral Factor. This is from Dante Lam, who's one of the middle-level action guys in Hong Kong these days. He's a better director than his films would suggest. But anyway, this is from Well Go. This is out on Blu-ray. Lots of gunplay in this one. The Viral Factor, with Jay Shu and Nicholas Tse in it. You might remember Jay Shu from The Green Hornet. Anyway, again, super violent, doesn't make any sense, but it's fine. And then we got Freelancer, which is just...
Freelancer, the story of a guy who's not staff.
This just blows my mind. Well, it's Freelancers, plural. You didn't hear that S. Freelancers, this just blows my mind. How does this even happen? This has Robert De Niro in it. This has Forrest Whitaker in it.
You know what?
It's got two Oscar winners. Two Oscar winners along with Curtis 50 Cent Jackson.
Let me guess who produced this. I'm going to take a guess. Hang on. Let me look into my bag, and I'm going to think to myself. His initials are A.L. He runs a production company. Starts with an M. Help me out, Wade.
Avi Lerner?
Yes, it must be him.
Well,
is it?
No.
Scandal.
Close though. It's from the producer of A Righteous Kill and Street Kings, which means that
but Righteous Kill
was an Avi Lerner film. So this basically means that he learned from the whoever we credit this to, he learned from the Avi Lerner school. So anyway, it's clearly
no. This is the Avi Lerner school. The Avi Lerner school is here, Bob. Here's $3 million for 14 days of work, knowing that they can pre-sell the crap out of it, and it'll make its money back before it even shoots a frame.
And two more guns on the cover.
You're not even listening.
I'm not. Cuba Gooding Jr. and Dolph Lundgren, who's currently visible in The Expendables 2, in One in the Chamber. One in the Chamber, Mark.
That's
the tagline here.
What?
When killers collide, every bullet counts. I love the taglines. They're just so cheesy.
Well, what's better, One in the Chamber or Full Metal Jacket? See, Full Metal Jacket is also. I mean, that's also a term.
But Kubrick can do whatever he wants. He can. He could. So anyway, it's gunplay. All right, Mark. I'm going to read we're going to get into new movies here in a second, but I think it's time that we announce the winners from last week's contest. Don't you think?
Well, we have some stuff to read though. We have some. We got a lot of very exciting limericks. Wade. Now here's the thing, Wade.
Before we even get to that,
oh Christ!
I just wanted to read a couple of things from the Facebook page, which had a great discussion on The Expendables 2 and some very, very funny comments, and I thought it was worth reading. Alexander Berlika from Belarus started it, saying just returned from The Expendables 2, and all I can say is it was probably the most satisfying movie experience of the summer. Finally, a blockbuster that remembers that an action movie should be fun. No shaky cam, no 2.5-hour runtime, no existential facial expressions, just a bunch of guys kicking ass wholesale. And it has a disarming sincerity that makes you enjoy the cheesiest one-liner. And then there's another great comment over here by Stuart Moncure, where he finally came back and said, just got back from watching Expendables 2, and holy crap nuts, it was good. I mean, good in the sense that I wanted a brainless movie about geriatrics who turned hundreds of people into human mulch and got exactly at. It's like the grumpy old men of action movies. I love our fans. I do. Love our listeners.
It really is. It's what is it?
I'm so envious of both of those posts. I'm like, that's good stuff, man.
It is good stuff.
Yeah.
Our Facebook page has lots of good stuff. And you know what? What I really want to see is the Sunshine Boys redone as a gigantically loud international action thriller crime epic. That's what I want to see.
I agree.
Yeah,
and
I'm
still eating your strawberry.
Well, that's all you're getting. I gave you a big hunk. If you eat the whole thing here, you ain't getting any more.
That's fine.
Because you've been a bad boy.
Why?
Because you wouldn't give me Quadrophenia.
I'm sorry.
Because you can keep it for yourself.
All right.
You only sent us one, and I wanted it because I'm a huge Pete Townsend, my musical god.
Well.
Yes, Wade.
But we also have the Pirates in 3D this week.
Yeah, but you like the Pirates because it's the.
Anyway. Let's talk about the contest first.
Oh,
so
contest.
Our limericks.
Now we got a lot of great limericks. Actually, a lot for us to have to go through. But so we thank you for that. But some decisions are harder than others.
Yes, they are.
And this decision is very difficult. So now we had discussed before the show. Were we going to read the 5 that we like the best, and then the 5th one that we read will be the one that wins?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I'm going to read the first one. Not a winner.
Now this is the fourth runner-up. Wait, if we're reading 5, and there's 4 runner-ups and 1 winner.
4th runner-up.
This is the 4th runner-up.
I guess 4th runner-up. This is from Lorenzo Raffa, who says, Aladdin the Dictator said, Kim Jong-il has me sing red. With Hitler, Stalin, Pol Pot, Ho Chi Minh, Gaddafi, and whatnot, all deny Generalissimo Francisco Franco is still dead.
Now, here's the thing.
Bad. It's good.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
He lost me in the last line.
Yeah.
Lorenzo, the last line, you lost. I know you were going for the comedy, but somehow the bust of comedy kind of went into the ditch just a little bit. But you did a great job. And I love all the historic references.
Yes, nice. Tavrani writes and says, I am the dictator Shahbaz Aladdin. I wear a white hat and live across a burning dune sea. It doesn't quite rhyme, but you know. I have weapons and army and WMDs to bring down the West and Zion, you see. You think this place is a brutal, horrible, and unconditioned. Hey, what can I say? At least it's not Cleveland.
It's not strictly a limerick.
I like some of the references, but yeah, it's not strictly a limerick. And then we have Cliff Kennard writes us a limerick about a dictator, a poem by Salvador Butacci. I don't quite get that, but anyway. There once was a madman from Munich who took hold of Germany and ruined it. He ranted and raved, sent millions to graves, that mustached, sadistic old eunuch.
That's bad.
Not bad. Eunuch, because there's a reference to Hitler having only, one ball.
Right.
See, I thought that was an interesting way of folding that in there.
But that was good.
That's good. And then David Rogers writes, there once was a man from Wadea who deeply hated Medea. He kidnapped Tyler Perry, caned his ass to look like a berry, and he adores the movie Mamma Mia.
Now, I like that. Hang on. I like that. But again, I feel like the last line, it was taking me this way, and then the last line, it goes that way, and it threw me.
And our winner, to someone who has actually written some very funny intros for the show, is Brian Swagel, who said, I went to see Borat at the theater. I hoped Bruno would be much cleaner. Then came the talking penis. We certainly didn't need this. So I hope that the dictator has less wiener.
Yeah.
See, I like
Brian
that.
Swagel.
Brian, you were the winner. We're going to get you get your name and address over to the good people who will, the good publicist people who will send you your fantastic Dictator Party Pack. So thank you, everyone, for playing. Appreciate it. We're going to hopefully have more really fun, cool contests going forward.
This is a good one.
That was a good one. That was good fun.
Well, the thing is that we made the listener work for it, but it was worth it because they didn't get just the Blu-ray. They got the Blu-ray and a whole bunch of other crazy crap.
Yep.
So it was worth it. It was worth the 90 seconds that our fans put into each limerick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, thank you, everybody, for coming across with the comedy.
Mm-hmm.
We love reading them. We love getting them. So, you know what? Honestly, just keep sending us limericks anyway.
Why not?
Why, does anyone need an excuse to write a limerick?
Not really.
I don't think so.
So, the Pirates in 3D. Here's the thing. I don't think it needs to be in 3D. I don't think anything needs to be in 3D. And at some point in the future, we will talk about flying swords of Dragon Gate or whatever it's called. The Joy Huck film that I had to see last week with the horrible subtitling.
Where did you get from the Pirates to the
3D? It's all 3D.
Oh, 3D.
3D.
Got it.
3D connection. Anyway, the Pirates in 3D. You know what? It's not a classic Aardman film, but it is directed by Peter Lord, who is the other part of Aardman. We always talk about Nick Park. Peter Lord is the other half of Aardman, the talkative half, but certainly no less talented than Nick Park is. And I have to say, The Pirates in 3D is a fun movie, not a great movie. I kind of wish the script had been better. But that being said, a lot of fun stuff. The stop motion is where the whole clay stop motion thing is really, really fun, and a lot of great featurettes and Blu-ray exclusives here. Some of it's really for kids, like the pirate disguise dress-up game, and there's some other things here that are really just very kid-oriented. But it really is. It's worth. I don't know if it's worth owning unless you really, really saw it in the theater and just went nuts for it. But it's a good rental, and you don't have to see it in 3D. So, but the nice thing, our friend Ray Green, former editor of Box Office, always says that he likes to see the thumbprints in clay animation. And you really do here. When you see it in Blu-ray, man, you can see the ridges from thumbprints, and it's really fun. You see the organic nature of the animation, which is great.
It is great. It's a fun film. I didn't expect much, but you know what? Sometimes you're worried that Nick Park always means a home run. But then when like the other guy decides to do it, you're worried that the other guy doesn't have the chops that that the real guy that we loved has. Turns out that he's just as talented. It may not have the pixie dust that a lot of the Nick Park stuff has, but still it's good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's so many children's titles out there. Tons. But here's something where you can totally rent it, get into it. Adults will like it. I liked it. That was good.
Yep. Anyway.
Yes, Wade.
All right. Well, do you want to talk about those, or should I hit
Would you
these?
like me to?
Yeah, go ahead. Do those. I'll hold off. I'll let you get those out of your system.
Exactly. Mary Herron is a director who had a blip there. She directed I Shot Andy Warhol and, of course, American Psycho, and started to stumble a little bit in the mid-2000s with the notorious Betty Page. Now, I don't know what the hell happened to her. She her latest film is called The Moth Diaries, and it's one of those very kind of icy cool, little bloodless kind of, adolescent, ethereal, fragile dramas that either kind of...
I don't like those.
Yeah, you don't like those. I'm not sure I can say what I just said again. Anyway, story of a girl who her father committed suicide. She enrolls in a boarding school, and it's all about this new student who comes to the boarding school named played by Lily Cole, and they managed to work vampires into this thing. And does Mary Herron really need to be worried about vampires? Like, come on, just stop it. Anyway, the film is definitely atmospheric, and I like the kind of lesbian overtones in it, only because it's just... Usually you're used to seeing the vampire stuff presented another way, but here the lesbian overtones, I think, are way out there, but I liked it. It wasn't done strictly for, titillation purposes. I think it sort of folds into the themes of the film, the fears of mortality and the lesbian desires and adolescent jealousies and whatnot. So I like that, but otherwise this film is just simply not very good. Anyway, so that's The Moth Diaries on Blu-ray. Now, another director who should know better is Lawrence Kasdan. Now, Lawrence Kasdan...
What happened to Lawrence Kasdan? I mean, this is the guy... I mean, from Raiders of the Lost Ark and Empire Strikes Back, and even stuff like, Big Chill. Big Chill, for crying out loud. It just he had him. He was like so good right up until into the early '90s, and then something just went kaput.
I mean, look. I mean, this guy.
Grand Canyon. Come on.
Grand Canyon. The trailer for Grand Canyon made me cry.
I know.
The trailer at the very end when Kevin Kline shakes hands with Danny Glover, they're sitting on the curb. Yep. I cried. I admit it. This is back in 19 whatever. Anyway, so here's a guy who's gone from writing Raiders of the Lost Ark and Empire Strikes. He had a hand in Empire Strikes Back, directing The Big Chill. I just think he's kind of lost it. And when I found out he was directing another film, a new film, this one called Darling Companion, you thought to yourself, "Oh my God, what is up Lawrence Kasdan's sleeve?
Yeah, I don't
what
know.
are we going to see? How cool is this going to be? You know what? Lame. It's about a guy who lost his dog. That's it.
Good cast. That
look,
dog is great.
Oh, doggies, they're so dumb.
I don't know.
Dogs are ridiculously cute. Anyway, Diane Keaton plays this a woman who saves a dog side of the freeway, and she's married to Kevin Kline, and they're sort of like empty nesters, and so they, the Diane Keaton, kind of really falls in love with this animal, and then the animal gets lost, runs away, whatever, and that's the movie. It's just agonizing. I just don't understand. Like, you know what? If you assign this film to any director who does like kids films, like those little like what's it like a Benji film or something, like Joe Camp. If Joe Camp directed this, wow, it's a good film from Joe Camp.
You mean like
like those mid-level guys who do these like $20 million dramas for
animal movies.
Animal movies.
Yeah.
But Lawrence Kasdan, it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Stop that. But look, it's got Mark Duplass, Diane Keaton, Kevin Kline, Sam Shepard, Elizabeth Moss, Mark Duplass. So
Duplass is not a selling point for me. That name just doesn't work for me.
However, guess who called it a true gem?
Yeah, thank you. Our good friend Pete Hammond. Not surprising. Anyway,
Darling Companion is terrible. Although it does have a commentary from Lawrence Kasdan, who co-wrote the film with Meg Kasdan.
The movie Citizen Gangster is a frustrating movie. You know, Citizen Gangster is one of these Canadian dramas that is so well made, and I mean it's really well made and really well put together, and it just doesn't quite hit the mark, and it's very, very frustrating. Scott's part of it is because, you know, you don't have like a real star. Scott Speedman, all due respect, not the kind of guy that you can build a movie around.
He's a real straight to DVD kind of a guy.
He really is, and it's unfortunate because
he's also in the Moth Diaries, by the way.
I know. If you were to put a real actor in this part and maybe, you know, juice it up with a little bit more production value and a bigger cast and, you know, kind of throw just a slight bit more at it, this could be like Oscar contender stuff. The story, basically, it's the story of Edwin Boyd, who is this Canadian World War II veteran who couldn't get work as an actor, had dreams of becoming a movie star, and then kind of fell into a bank robbing lifestyle, which is it's such a tragic story because his wife didn't know about it, and it winds up sort of drawing his entire family into this life of crime, and then he's become it's sort of like a guy who thought that he was going to be Errol Flynn, and he winds up becoming Jesse James. And there are a lot of tragic twists to this. Now, we've seen this story in various forms a million times, but again, it's so well made, but it just doesn't hang together. It doesn't have like the presence behind it, and it's partly Speedman's fault, partly because the script isn't as strong as it should be. The direction is strong. It's worth seeing, but not worth owning. And then we have an interesting film here. We have now from the Criterion Collection. We got 3 different films. One from the Eclipse line, 2 regular Criterion films. The first one I'm going to talk about is this Paul Fajos film called Lonesome, which, you know, every once in a while Criterion will come out with something that I have never, ever in my life heard of. And you go, really? I there's stuff that I've never seen that gets the Criterion treatment, but when Criterion comes up with something I've never even heard of, I got to find out what this is all about. And sure enough, this is an old movie. This is really kind of a forgotten film from 1928. And it is one of the earliest sound films from a director who really was much more of kind of a Renaissance man. That Paul Fajos did, he was all kinds of things, and he was making movies for Universal at the time, and decided to make basically it's part silent, part sound, like most things were at that time, but it still qualifies as a sound film. Basically, kind of a tribute to Coney Island on the 4th of July. And it's really quite a lovely film, very experimental in the way that it's put together, and it's kind of been shown intermittently, I guess, at festivals and things. But it really is just it's a cool kind of a weird, almost like Man with a Movie Camera is to Russian film. That's what I think this would probably be to American Silence. It's experimental, but it's archival. And really worth checking out. The Blu-ray transfer is just fantastic. It's really, really lovely. And, I think a nice discovery here. You get an audio commentary with Richard Kozarski. And the movie The Last Performance, which was a 1929 film, also from Paul Fajos, starring Conrad Veidt. And, a whole bunch of other interesting little anecdotes that give you a little background onto Fajos and his movies and his career, and it's just good stuff. So, for film buffs and film history buffs, definitely worth checking out.
Wade, the mods and the rockers, Wade. They're at it again.
You and your Quadrophenia.
They're at it again 30-something years later, whatever it is, with Quadrophenia, which is out on a must-buy Blu-ray via the good folks at Criterion. This film is directed by Frank Rodam. It's actually his first film, and it was based on the rock opera from The Who, which was released, I think, in 1973. The movie was 1979. The album was in 1973. Actually, Roger Daltrey, I don't know why he didn't wind up playing the lead role, which we were talking about yesterday, but winds up being played by Phil Daniels, who is still around and is forever synonymous in his home country with that role. So this is a great film. It is very sort of representational of the time, because you get these very well dressed but drugged out mods, and you get the punky bike riding rockers, and their final clash in Brighton. And it's a very rough edge film, and it's if you're younger, maybe you're maybe your mid late teens or early 20s, this is one of the great films about rebellion, youthful rebellion, and it's got almost a nonstop musical score. It's got such great films, such great songs, not only from The Who, but there's plenty of other great songs on the soundtrack as well. And so it's a great film. You got to see it. You got to check it out. The Blu-ray, which looks fantastic, includes a audio commentary by the director, a new interview with the film's co-producer and co-manager, Bill Curbishley. You know what? When you think of British names, Curbishley, very British. New interview with The Who sound engineer, which is pretty good too. The one that I like, there's a segment from this BBC show called Talking Pictures from 1979, which is all about the making of the film and includes some on-set footage, which is nice. So Quadrophenia is a great film.
Sweet.
You like this film, right?
I do very much. Mm-hmm.
How can you not like this film?
I love this film. No, it's a great. First of all, Quadrophenia just is. Even if the film weren't made, the subject alone and the execution would make it worth watching. But it is well made, and it's really well put together, and it's a really iconic film, and it's a great piece of film history.
But the good thing is that the Blu-ray looks great.
Yeah.
But with Criterion, we kind of expect that, don't we? That is true. Anyway, Quadrophenia, buy it.
And then we have from Eclipse, we've got the Maidstone and Other Films by Norman Mailer. Can you believe it's been 5 years since Norman Mailer died? Isn't that wild? It feels
Norman
like
Mailer
yesterday.
died?
Yeah, 5 years ago. You know, Norman Mailer, just a tempestuous, heavy-handed pugilist of a writer. People don't realize that Mailer actually briefly got into experimental filmmaking. And it was in the late 60s, terminating with Maidstone in 1970, that he did this, and worked with a number of great documentary filmmakers like D.A. Pennebaker. And the three films included here are Maidstone, Wild 90, and Beyond the Law. And you know what? I don't know that these films are any good, but they're noteworthy. They're interesting because you get a sense of Norman Mailer in them. And I mean that not just because he wrote them and directed them, but because or co-directed them, but because he's actually in them. Notably Maidstone, where he is he plays a presidential candidate who is going to be the target of an assassination attempt. And it's I guess I would recommend these to people who love experimental films and who love Norman Mailer. I'm not sure I'd recommend this to anybody else, but Mailer is certainly an iconic figure, a relevant figure that people are still debating, and they will continue to debate him for a long time. Because he's uncomfortable. He's difficult. You have to wrestle with his writing, and you have to wrestle with his character and his personality, and all of that comes through in this. So, Mailer fans and experimental film fans, check out Maidstone and Other Films by Norman Mailer. This is Eclipse Series 35, including the films Maidstone, Wild 90, and Beyond the Law.
You know it, Wade. You know what else I know? That the Blu-ray for Battleship it features an amazing, unbelievable transfer.
It's suddenly a good film, right?
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Transfer, flawless, unbelievably beautiful, big bold colors, amazing detail, unbelievable video transfer for Battleship. Audio quality, also great. DTS HD Master 5.1 surround track, unbelievable. All your surrounds will freak out. A lot of extras here, including an alternate ending visualization. There's this all-access deal with Peter Berg. And it's kind of like a hosted thing. I think it's like over 2 hours. And there's a tour of the USS Missouri, where the film kind of takes place. So the video quality of the Battleship Blu-ray is unimpeachable, one of the best of the year. The audio quality, also one of the best of the year. A lot of great extras. The problem is the movie, which is terrible.
Yeah.
That's really the
problem.
That
happens sometimes.
Well, it really shouldn't happen when you spend like $225 million to make a market film.
Seriously. And honestly, this guy, what's his name? The guy from Mars?
Huh?
The guy from Mars, John Carter.
Yes.
Yeah, what's his name? That actor. Who was also in...
Taylor Kitsch.
Taylor Kitsch.
Poor guy.
Well, you notice, I don't know his name. Couldn't pull his name up if my life depended on it. He was in 3 disastrous movies this summer.
I know, poor guy. You really can't.
That is just the end of a career. He really started the year thinking, "This is my year, man. I'm in 3 movies. I'm in an Oliver Stone movie. I'm in John Carter for Disney. I'm in Battleship for Universal. I'm going to be starring in $500 million worth of movies."
Well, do you remember?
He had to think this was it. He was going to be Brad Pitt next year. He was going to be the man. He was going to be the man. Hollywood was going to be at his beck and call, at his doorstep. He was going to be getting script. Oh, yeah, not so much.
Well, do you remember?
Not so much.
Do you remember when Matthew McConaughey first kind of broke? Dazed and Confused, and Time to Kill, and now he's coming. This guy's coming.
Yeah.
And then comes Contact. Why are you in that movie? Amistad, like one of the dumbest, worst Spielberg films ever. The Newton Boys. I mean, he did those three within like 2 years of each other, and now all of a sudden Matthew McConaughey is like how could starring in a Steven Spielberg film and starring in a Robert Zemeckis film be seen as career missteps?
Yeah, exactly.
Now you have Taylor Kitsch, who's like, how can you, like, if someone had told him that starring in a huge, Disney film.
He will be lucky to get a sitcom. Seriously.
No, poor guy.
He'll be lucky to get a sitcom.
Anyway, the movie's just, honestly, it's like, they make these movies for the wrong reason.
I know.
And the funny thing is that Universal knew they had a dud because at the last minute, they decided to release this, last minute distribution-wise, they decided to release this internationally first because they knew that they had a stinker domestically.
Totally, absolutely.
If it's a stinker domestically, you know what that means?
Yep.
It means it's going to be a stinker internationally because America kind of sets the trend on what's considered valuable in film.
It's not a great transfer, but it's acceptable. This is a Best Buy exclusive release that Paramount is doing, and I don't know why. I think it should be just straight across the board, just blow this thing out, but whatever. I guess Best Buy paid a pile of money to have an exclusive on this. So we get School of Rock on Blu-ray. To my mind, this is the best film that Richard Linklater has ever done. It's the best performance that Jack Black has ever done. It was lightning in a bottle. This is such a fun film. It's so sweet. The kids are awesome. It's a clever script, a totally commercial script. It feels like a great throwback to the good comedies of the 1980s, and I heartily endorse this. Now, again, not a great transfer. They kind of blew this out to Blu-ray just to let the transfer monkey throw the switch. Nobody really watching, and so it's got some issues, some chalkiness, and some some edge enhancement issues that I guess are inherited from the whatever master they used for this. All the extras are pretty much the same that were on the previous DVD release. But you know what? It is definitely worth checking out. And then also we have a couple of Halloween movies on Blu-ray. Both of these from Anchor Bay. This is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. And honestly, if you were to watch them back-to-back, you would forget which one was which. There are audio commentaries on both of these that are totally negligible. They don't tell you anything that you really need to know. There's some promos, trailers, the usual kinds of little fillers on here. And otherwise, pretty much, even though these are very decent Blu-ray transfers for movies that have no business looking this good, honestly, the only people that this is for are people who are such huge fans of the Halloween series that they just can't get enough of Michael Myers' murderous ways in the first three films, one of which doesn't even feature him. That Season of the Witch, it has nothing to do with Michael Myers or the Halloween series.
You realize that as much as we bemoan, films today, you realize that. I mean, come on, there were like 17 Freddy films and 16 Halloween films and 19 Friday the 13th films. I mean, we really don't have much to.
In the 30s there were a lot of crap too.
I mean, there's a lot of crap in every. Yeah. The only difference is that today the crap costs $180 million to make.
Very true.
Very true. What are you talking about there, Wade? What do you got?
Well, let's see. Let's do that. Yeah.
Well, this movie, Think Like a Man, Tim Story. Tim Story is a director who was way, way over his head when he directed a couple of Fantastic Four films. I mean, this is a guy who had gotten his start directing Barbershop and the horrible film called Taxi, a comedy with Queen Latifah. So it's like, yeah, Barbershop. Let's give him 2 Fantastic Four films. It's one thing to give him one Fantastic Four film, but why'd you give him the other? It just is terrible. He's just not that kind of director. So now he's finally gotten back to what he should be doing, which is sort of like light ensemble comedy drama stuff. And here with Think Like a Man, we have him back on familiar territory. I didn't really get much out of this. I find these films to be very slight, and
I like Kevin Hart.
Huh?
He's about the only thing I like in this movie, Kevin Hart. I think.
There's nothing wrong. The cast. I mean, Gabrielle Union's beautiful. I love her. Kevin Hart's fine too. Jerry Ferrera, he's the guy from Entourage. He's fine too. Taraji P. Henson, Oscar nominee, ladies and gentlemen. She's great. But, I don't really... There's not a whole lot of zing to this stuff.
No.
And I just find them to be very middling and just not that insightful. And it's Think Like a Man.
Yeah, that's it.
Gag reel and deleted scenes are available on the Blu-ray, and there's a couple of exclusive Blu-ray features, none of which are worth buying the Blu-ray for.
We're going to go into some television now and wrap out the show. And meanwhile, go ahead and send us your Vox boxes and your listener mail. We will be, we really want to get some more of your thoughts and your insights. We really do love hearing from the listeners. It's fun stuff.
I don't.
Okay, fine. So, VoxBox...
Wade does. I'm not interested.
VoxBox, any question. Try not to make it longer than about a minute long, but pretty much any question or a series of questions, and you can record that, send it to us in any format. We are wizards. We will turn it into whatever we need. And you can send us emails as well to gods@digigods.com. That's gods@digigods.com.
How else are you going to hear me sing the VoxBox song?
That's it.
Unless you send a VoxBox.
You got to do it.
I don't just sing it. I'm not some trained monkey. I need a VoxBox to sing the VoxBox song.
That's it. So here, first off, here's some television that I really have no interest in. Jersey Shore Uncensored Season 5. You know what it is. It's a bunch of those horrible people just doing horrible things and having sex and acting cool. I mention this only because Snooki had her baby yesterday.
She did.
So congratulations, Snooki. I still hate your show. I mean, really, it's the end of television, that stupid thing. And then this is what's really cool. This is just a legendary television thing that I didn't expect anybody would ever release. This is The Lieutenant, the complete series in 2 parts, Part 1 and Part 2. And this is noteworthy because this is Gene Roddenberry's television series before Star Trek. I know everybody thinks Gene Roddenberry, Star Trek, like Gene Roddenberry didn't even exist before Star Trek. Like he just spontaneously burst into existence and ta-da, there you go. But there are a lot of interesting little Star Trek connections to this. A lot of, you sort of, hear names and you see actors and you realize that all the seeds are kind of being sown for what would eventually become, just an unbelievable television phenomenon. Now, this is not science fiction, mind you. Not even close to science fiction. This is this is kind of like a TV version of Full Metal Jacket, in a way, frankly, and it's really quite good and very well done. And you will be you might, if you look at some of the credits, you'll notice, hey, there's a director who did a couple of episodes of this show named Richard Donner.
What?
Yeah, who also, of course, did Gilligan's Island at the time. So yeah, this is really, it's about training recruits. It's set at Camp Pendleton, and some very, very good stuff here. Especially when you see just all kinds of people who would eventually be on Star Trek showing up. It's just really cool. So I would recommend this. I think this is cool to own. I got to tell you, I think it's cool to own. And this is technically part of the Warner Archive collection. So you can get more on it at WarnerArchive.com, but it is much higher level of transfer quality than most of the other Warner Archive stuff, and they don't sort of flaunt it on the cover like they do the other Warner Archive stuff. The logo is very discreetly hidden on the back. So,
Wade, let's wrap out with a couple of TV things. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Wade, The Walking Dead Season 2 is on Blu-ray. This is pretty much as good as it will ever get in the zombie genre, of which we are now suffering through, which of course comes after the vampire genre, which is now slowly dying out, hopefully. And I don't know what's coming next, Wade. Maybe Frankenstein or something?
I don't know.
Anyway, The Walking Dead is a great show. I know that the controversy was how would the show do without Frank Darabont, who was the showrunner for Season 1? Well, it's doing very, very well. And what's great about the show is that because it's a TV show, they are smart enough to not just make this just another hour of survival where at the end there's like a big fight between the humans and zombies. I mean, they really dig deep, go granular in terms of what it would be like to live in this world. And so you get a lot of surprises. Also, these shows are nothing without characters that you don't want to see die. And I know that Walking Dead has plenty of that. So I love the show. I think it's a great show. I pop these things in. I pop Season 1 in like it was candy, and Season 2 because I don't wait. I'm never home to watch TV when it happens.
I know,
and I don't have a TiVo, so I have to watch all these things on DVD and Blu-ray when they come out, or I watch at friends' homes who have TiVo and they say you got to watch this.
Okay.
But stuff like Walking Dead, I wind up discovering on Blu-ray, and it's just fantastic. It's a great, great show. The Blu-ray looks good. The show is purposely a little bit desaturated, and I know that the transfer definitely honors that. A lot of greens and browns and whatnot, and a lot of sort of like dirty, dusty colors. A lot of good detail. The audio is very good for whatever that's worth, but still, it's nice. A lot of extras on this thing. We have audio commentaries on some of the episodes. We have a whole bunch of featurettes, some more interesting than others. But still, the only thing that matters is the show itself. Mm-hmm. And Walking Dead is a great show.
You know, Boardwalk Empire, Season 2.
I thought I was saying stuff, Wade.
Oh, sorry.
I still have this.
Okay, go ahead.
And then
finish.
You can do that.
And then I'll do Boardwalk Empire.
Jesus
okay.
Christ.
Okay.
All I want to do is have my part of the show.
Take 2.
I want to say things.
Take 3.
I want people to like me too, Wade.
You're fired. You're fired.
All right. So, House, final season of House. This show was great for a lot of years. I can't say that I watched, every season of the show, but at the beginning, seasons like maybe 2 through 4, it was pretty great. Now it's kind of like it's just getting a little bit more ridiculous. Some of the comedies are a little bit more out there. Some of these episodes are a little bit more flamboyant. These visually flamboyant. So I think it was about time this thing retired itself. Anyway, so there you go. So we have House season 8, the last one, and not one of the better seasons. Although the idea that it's ending definitely gave the seasons some energy because you're sort of wondering how it's going to finally resolve itself. And there you go. A couple bonus features on this thing, including a look back at the show, a couple of scenes of Hugh Laurie directed a couple of the episodes, or at least one of the episodes
Good for him.
This season, and a look at how that was done. And there you go. Also, there's a good featurette on the cast and crew looking back on the 8 seasons now that it is all over. So House on Blu-ray, Season 8. If you've got the other 7, why would you not buy this one?
Boardwalk Empire, Season 2, the complete second season on Blu-ray DVD digital copy combo, which includes a thing that really is close to, you can't redeem the digital copy after the 28th of 2014, so you only have a year left. Quickly running out of time.
I'm telling you.
So you got to get this now. I don't know why they put those expirations on it. Anyway, this is the second season of Boardwalk Empire, and on Blu-ray it looks fantastic. And I'm going to say something about this. First of all, 3 things. Extras are phenomenal. They're educational. They understand that the show has a Prohibition-era setting, so they go out of their way to really, really immerse you in information that will not only educate you, but make the show more enjoyable by virtue of your education. Bravo. They're treating viewers intelligently, which HBO always does. Lots of great audio commentaries featuring cast and crew, and it's great. Really, really outstanding stuff. This is just a superb product all around. And here's the thing. Lawless is out right now, which is also a Prohibition movie, feature film. Don't like how it looks. Love how this looks. This looks more like a feature film than that film does. That's not a bad movie, but it's just this, to me, really, really brings it, and that doesn't quite do it. Also, Michael Shannon, who's very funny in Premium Rush, which just opened. He's very funny in that movie, but better in this. Michael Shannon, great actor, perfect for this. So, outstanding Boardwalk Empire second season. And then lastly, the complete first season of Once Upon a Time, an inexplicably popular show that takes fairy tales and mashes them all together in a thing that jumps back and forth between back then and now, or some other dimension and this dimension. Still doesn't make sense to me. My mother-in-law loves this show. I've sat down and tried to watch it numerous times, and all I can wrap myself around is that Robert Carlyle is really overacting, but I like him so much that I accept it. But everything else in this makes no sense to me. I can't put the whole plot together. Even just watching it from the beginning, it just feels it feels like too much of a weird conceptual mashup, and that's not my thing. But anyway, a lot of people love it. It is a great transfer. It comes with a little lenticular cover and an exclusive feature on the Blu-ray, the History of Fairy Tales with Josh Dallas. So they're really playing to their audience. They're playing to their strengths. So. If you like this show, please email us at gods@digigods.com and explain to me what on earth is going on and why I don't get it. That being said, Mark, we are done, and email us gods@digigods.com. Mark, what are you looking forward to in the fall? Movies. I always drop a bomb on you.
You actually haven't done it for a while.
I know.
I'm going to say the only movie I'm looking forward to, Wade, which is the only movie you're looking forward to.
Yep. That's it.
Say it.
The Master.
That's right.
That's it. P.T. Anderson, shot in 65mm negative, 70mm projected. Only the third film since 1970, Ryan's Daughter, the David Lean film. Only the third film since then to be shot that way. You know what the other two are? Ron Howard's Far and Away, which I saw at Cannes, was not impressed. And the other one is Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet.
Ooh,
So
really?
we are in rarefied territory here. Looking forward to the Master big time. See you guys next week.